So Ilia Topuria just got another highlight reel finish under his belt, and he's currently garnering insane momentum right now that it could propel him to being an all-time great. So the fight lasted only 3 minutes, and in terms of tactical analysis, there's not really much to say. I thought it was pretty straightforward. Topuria was establishing his jab as soon as the fight started, and they were hard thudding jabs. These weren't like fast whip-like type of jabs. You can see Topuria stepping in and really trying to do damage. So how Oliveira decided to respond was in 2 ways. The first option was the right calf kick. Smart option, it was the same thing that Volk tried to do in their fight, and the purpose is that whenever anybody jabs, all their weight is on that foot. So attacking that leg while they jab, especially when you time it right, is certainly going to do damage. A lot of Muay Thai fighters, whenever they fight somebody that's heavy-handed, they do the same thing, they try to time that leg. The second option was the high guard. So Oliveira's approach was to walk Topuria down and really try to stand his ground and not back up. And we'll touch more on this later on, but I thought him trying to combine his high guard with his calf kick was a questionable decision. The reason why is because he's not committing to that kick. He wasn't swinging his arms or turning his hips. He wasn't throwing the kick with proper technique. Therefore, he's just splitting his power on these kicks. To really punish Topuria's jab, you're going to have to commit to do damage. Otherwise, you're just trying to score points. Eventually, because Topuria found the range for his boxing so easily, he started to commit to the straight right. Now before he throws it, there's actually a subtle feint with his lead hand before he throws it. I don't know if this is intentional. Sometimes it could just be something completely natural where you're just loading up for your right hand. But he does do this a lot, he did it against Max, and when he committed, he was cracking Oliveira's high guard so easily, which inevitably led to the finish where he decided to put the left hook behind the right hand. A lot of people pointed out the step to the left that Topuria took to land that right hand. That was certainly huge. But I think what's more impressive for me was how accurate he was able to land that right hand in such tight space. Like most fighters from that distance would land the right hand bouncing off the top of their opponent's head. Topuria was like throwing a chopping right hand down the pipe. But when Topuria commits to his punches and Oliveira doesn't move back and he just high guards, what it then causes are collisions where one fighter's running into the other. Now usually in positions like this, fighters are going to look for clinches or takedowns. Part of the reason why Oliveira was able to wear down the last boxer he fought, Dustin Poirier, was because of the Thai plum. He controlled Poirier and landed devastating knees that broke him down. It pretty much negated any opportunity for Poirier to try to throw any combos. But when Oliveira was trying to look for that same Thai plum, Topuria was relentlessly pulling away and trying to break the clinch. He never engaged with Oliveira with it. Matter of fact, he pretty much wanted no part. So because of that, he was able to avoid some of the big knees that Oliveira was looking to land. But this fight pretty much confirmed what I've been saying about Topuria, which is the fact that he is very clearly the best boxer in UFC history. No one in the UFC ever has had the same type of boxing skill set as him. The second closest person who are among the best boxers in UFC history is not even close to him. He clears them by a landslide. He stands in a league of his own in this specific art. When you talk about all the pillars, tactics, technique, natural talent, and so on, he excels in all of those areas. He's the only MMA fighter that is the closest to punching like a boxer. We can see the evidence in the pad work, which is insane by the way, and now we see it in fights. The people that are denying it are either unintellectual or haters, because the proof is literally in the pudding. Now, Charles Oliveira, on the other hand, I thought he did everything right offensively. I thought the calf kicks and the teeps were the right call. I thought the Thai plum was brilliant. He even slipped a jab to set up an entry for double underhooks. There was an exchange where Topuria initially tried his 2-3 combo, but it didn't land clean because Topuria was posting. He had great ideas in this fight. I didn't think he was off in his offense in this fight. But Oliveira's defense was the problem here, and it seems like it's always the problem because it really got torn apart in this fight because he was essentially standing on the center line with no movement. He was almost taking the mindset of taking one on the guard and trying to give two, except he wasn't giving any, and that's not a smart idea against a heavy-handed boxer like Topuria. There was such little footwork to control distance, and there was barely any head movement. He had pretty much an inactive high guard that was designed to absorb damage to some degree. Pretty much his defense was one-dimensional, and that likely had to do with his mindset of trying to run Topuria over with his size. And this is the issue when you develop bad habits and principles when you're fighting, and even more at the highest level. You can make certain mistakes against certain fighters, and if you didn't pay for it then, if you keep fighting, eventually you will pay for them. And this is what it just was with Oliveira. He ran into somebody that can exploit his mistakes. He approached this fight like how he did with Poirier and Gaethje, except Topuria is a much better fighter than those guys.